Commonly known as the world's oldest profession, prostitution has been practiced for thousands of years on all corners of the globe. In some places, it is a valuable producer of tax revenue, drives tourism, and provides jobs for thousands and thousands of people. In other places, it's punishable by death. In more middle-of-the-road places, like the United States, it's punishable by a prison sentence. And I think it's time to change that. So in the United States, we have issues with matters of public health, we have issues with generating tax revenue, we have issues with getting people out of poverty, we have issues with unemployment, we have a lot of issues that could be helped by legalizing prostitution. And in countries where prostitution has become legalized, according to procon.org, the STD rates have dropped dramatically. And this is because it allows the government to step in and regulate the sex trade industry. And in that process, it also allows them to curtail the process of human trafficking and organized crime. And that's one of the major counter arguments to legalizing prostitution, is that it will catalyze human trafficking, but that is simply not true through the process of regulation. If there's an inspector that comes to the brothel and makes sure that everybody is there willingly and they're a willing participant, and that everybody has health cards like they do in Holland, they're actual physical cards that prove that that the prostitutes were checked every 2 weeks, and this also will help curtail the spread of STDs, namely HIV and AIDS. It'll also help with the unemployment rate. As you may have heard of OnlyFans, that is actually, while that is not prostitution by any stretch of the imagination, it is a form of sex work, and it has been a provider for many men and women throughout the country, and it has helped them get through the pandemic, and it's basically become a whole industry of its own. And if we could do the same thing with prostitution, who knows what we could do. Particularly if you put a 25% sin tax on prostitution and the revenue from brothels, you could fund all sorts of programs, roads, hospitals, schools. We can get universal health care, perhaps. Could be a good use for those tax funds. And there are several issues with the American legal system that I personally don't understand why prostitution is still illegal when these things are legal. So by the strictest sense of the word, prostitution or pornography is prostitution. The only difference is that it's recorded and distributed. And we also know this from procon.org. And what is the difference between doing it privately for money and doing it publicly for money? It's essentially the same. So I don't understand how one is legal and the other one isn't. Another one, during the court case of Roe versus Wade, it was determined that a woman has a right to do with her body what she wants. So why wouldn't that apply to prostitution for men or women? And I believe it's time for all of these to come to fruition, and we need to rethink how we look at the world's oldest profession in the United States. Thank you very much.